In this exercise video, I'm going to show you how to be doing a Kegel pelvic floor contraction with a core bracing with your deep core called your transversus abdominis. So we're going to talk through how to do the pelvic floor engagement as well as the TA engagement here, and how we're going to combine that into one exercise to strengthen the full core from top to bottom. So get yourself lying on your back, knees bent with your feet flat on the ground, and try to find a neutral spine position. So we don't want your tail to be tucked and totally flatten that lower back. You want to keep the spine in neutral with excuse me, with just a hair of an arch in your lower back. This is the best place to start with this exercise to really focus on the isolation, but you can also perform it in sitting, which we'll go through in just a minute. So once you get set up and you find your neutral spine, you can have a little pillow support here, but just make sure that your head is relatively in line with the rest of your spine. For the Kegel engagement, you're going to contract the pelvic floor by lifting up and in. So you're going to squeeze and lift like you're trying to stop the flow of urine. And you're going to do that with isolation, meaning you're not going to be squeezing your glutes or your thighs or anything else. You're going to be isolating that pelvic floor. So externally, someone will be able to look at you and they won't see any motion, but you should feel that squeeze and a lift. So what that will look like here is a nice big belly breath in. Exhale through pursed lips. And I'm squeezing and lifting the pelvic floor, and you don't see any movement happening here at my pelvis. You might see a little bit of core engagement naturally here, and that's normal, and we're going to get into how to emphasize that a little bit more in here in just a second. The first step here is to engage that Kegel. The other component is going to be engaging this lower abdominal area in a TA brace. And we want to be focusing on this area between your belly button and your pubic bone and side to side in this zone. So we're not looking for upper core, we're looking for that deep lower core here. And how we're going to engage that is going to be the same big belly breath in. Exhale through pursed lips. And you're hugging in nice and tight through here, kind of pulling that belly button up and in towards your spine. And you should see kind of a flattening effect here. If you feel with your fingertips, you should feel some firmness in your fingers. So a little bit of firmness here, but you shouldn't feel a significant sinking down effect. So we don't want to just hollow out here and just like suck in. That's creating negative pressure and not actually using your muscles. So you shouldn't feel a sinking in, and you shouldn't feel a bulging out. You should just feel a firmness and a flattening from side to side here. So this is usually envisioning like you're trying to zip up a tight pair of pants and how you kind of pull in through here to tighten it up. You're going to visualize that effect. So we have the Kegel and then the TA brace, and we're going to do it in that fashion. You're going to start with the Kegel first and then brace the lower abdominal muscles. And so let's walk through that combined together. So nice big belly breath in and feel your belly and pelvic floor relax and expand. Exhale through pursed lips like you're blowing out candles, and engage the Kegel first. Once the Kegel's engaged, then slowly build up that tension into the lower belly. Okay, let's show you that in real time. Belly breath in. Exhale and contract. Belly breath in. Exhale and contract. So if you're doing this correctly, the only motion you should ever see is that belly flattening and the rib cage maybe falling slightly. Okay, so if you feel like your rib cage is flaring up and you almost arch, you know you're doing this incorrectly. And also, you don't want to be crunching either, so you got to make sure your shoulders and head stay relaxed, so it's just the core doing the work. Now, to combine these two like that can be a little tricky, so go slow and methodically with it, and really make sure you're isolating those different components to have the full effect of this exercise. So you want to make sure that you're really isolating without any cheating in other areas, and making sure you feel those muscles engage in the proper way. Now we're going to go through the same thing in a sitting position. So this will just challenge you a little bit more because your postural muscles will be engaged. And so you have to really make sure that you're not cheating when you're in this position, because it can be a little easier to cheat. So we're going to do the same thing, but just get sitting at the edge of your chair. Nice, tall, long posture. Find that neutral spine position here with that small arch in your lower back. So you don't want to be rounded out and slouched this way, but you don't want to be overextended that way. Find that neutral middle ground so you feel like you're sitting directly on your pelvic floor, that area between your sit bone on the backside and the pelvic bone. You want to be symmetrical right on the pelvic floor there. So once you have your posture, you're sitting on your pelvic floor, you're going to still do the same thing, but just now in sitting. So you're going to take that belly breath in and feel your pelvic floor and belly expand. Exhale through pursed lips and engage the Kegel and then the belly. So inhale and expand, exhale and lift. Inhale and expand, exhale and lift. Excellent. When you first start off, you're going to start with a smaller amount of a hold. As you get better, you're going to be holding for longer periods of time, and that's where you're going to start including a return to normal breathing pattern. So if you're just holding for a few seconds, you just have a long inhale, long exhale during the contract and relax periods. But as you go higher and you get closer to 10-second hold, which is our goal, you're going to start returning to a normal breathing pattern while continuing to hold that muscle contraction. So here's what it will look like for a longer hold. You're going to have a nice big belly breath in, exhale through pursed lips, contract and hold for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Now I'm counting it through that phase, but what you would normally see is you get that initial contraction, and then you keep that contraction as you return to a light, normal breathing pattern. It will not be a belly breath during that period of the holding, and so it'll just be a small little breath, just like the typical breath you would do when you're sitting in a chair, resting and relaxing. So that will be the transition as you get a longer hold. So you're going to have to follow your instructions from your physical therapist of how long you should be holding for and what that breathing pattern should look like as you transition from a short hold to a long hold.